Hello, everyone. Marie here from Tech and Learning. Thank you for attending the Tech and Learning Virtual Leadership Summit being held today and tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. A special thank you to our sponsors, Guide K-12, Now Forecast 5 Analytics, MediaSite, Prezi, and Nariva. Today's virtual summit brings together top-level executives from school districts around the country with education technology buying responsibilities. Our virtual summits provide an environment where district leaders can share their successes and challenges in facilitated small group discussions. I'd like to remind everyone to log into the Conference Hub using the link sent in your confirmation email. Once you are logged in, you can visit our sponsors at their virtual booths and their Zoom meeting room to learn about their offerings and book one-to-one meetings. Each visit to a sponsored Zoom room earns you 20 entries to our Passport to Prizes. We will announce winners via email at the end of the conference. In the Conference Hub, you can also see your personalized agenda, network with today's attendees via our registrant directory, and chat. You can also access all the conference resources in the download section. Before we begin, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. If you have any questions for the presenters during the session, please submit them through the Zoom chat feature. Please know we capture all questions and our presenters are happy to answer them as time permits. Today's slides and additional resource materials are available and may be accessed in the Downloads tab in the Conference Hub. We encourage you to download any resources or links that you may find useful. Be sure to use the conference hashtag #TLTechLive in your social media posts. Please join me in welcoming our moderator, Ray Bendici.
Hey, thank you very much. Just real quickly, welcoming everyone here that's in the conference here. And hopefully lots of great discussions going on today. And that's one of the reasons why we chose this format is to encourage discussion. So as just said, we can do please feel free to load questions in the chat function in the middle and the bar at the bottom. I forgot to say that in my first session, so I really kind of focus that now. And as you may have heard us discussing early on, we really want this to be interactive. So we really want to hear from you, have your feedback, and have a discussion. As you hopefully you're in the right place. This is, make sure you're in the right class to start right. This is personalized professional learning in a pandemic. I would like to welcome Janet Mishny from Newport Mesa USD, Maureen Chertow-Millo from Winnetka Public Schools, and Julie Morgenthau from Balls School District. And take it away.
So Julie, are you starting, Julie?
Oh, I showed up as third, so I thought that we were going in the same order. Do you want me to start?
I was going off the Google Doc. I'm happy to start if you
Oh,
want.
I'm with you. I was going off the other, but I am ready to go. So here we go. This is the virtual fun. Thank you. I'm a technology director at the Balls School District, and I'm just going to present one way that we're doing professional development in the district. So give me 1 second so I can share my screen. Oh, there it goes. It was not letting me. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Good. Okay. So basically in the district, we have a program called the Technology Core Teacher Project. This has been going on for several years. I'm not going to go through all of these slides. We're just kind of focused on a couple main areas. When we developed this program, we tried to go through and look at the research regarding professional development. And so we wanted to make sure the program encompassed all of these traits that you see here on the screen. Most of all, making sure that it's very applicable to what teachers are doing in the classroom and kind of stepping away from The ideas of, again, bringing technology in as this extra thing, which even though we've known that for years, I feel like there's still sometimes the sense that that is still the way to go, that technology is secondary. So we wanted to try to make sure that everything we were doing with this group followed best practices for professional development and teaching and learning. It was rooted in TPAC and the idea that teachers have to have technological knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and content knowledge to really make all of this come together. Again, I mentioned the reason that we started this program was to try to really push the idea that technology is an integral part of teaching and learning, and that we are not considering it outside, and that it was really considered an expectation of what teachers should be doing. So it started in 2000, like I said, I believe 9, and we have changed it and modified it every year since then. And so it was perfect as we came into this pandemic craziness in that it was a very flexible model that we could easily meld and modify to make the most of it in whatever kind of scenario. So the program focus last year, we just kind of looked at those same ideas and moved into pandemic mode. And we sort of moved into it in March because that's when our schools closed at the end of last year. And what we found is the teachers that were in this technology core teacher program emerged as natural leaders. We originally were, almost kind of forgot about them in our panic that we all had to move online. And we were a one-to-one, and our kids do a take-home model. So we were prepared in some ways, but similar, like to the last session I was in, it is still difficult. Teachers some are better than others at teaching in a hybrid environment, and even still others having to make that shift to fully online was a real challenge, even just getting used to all of the tools. And so these people emerged as natural leaders, and we thought, this year we're really going to bank on them for additional support. So when we create this group, they are stipend based. So it's not a lot of teachers. We're not really focusing on every single teacher in the district. In fact, it's a small percentage. It can be, 10 to 20% of all teachers. And what we're trying to do is have different teachers every year. So we're building capacity slowly over time with this focus PD. It doesn't mean we're not doing other professional development sessions. And obviously we're working with teachers on technology across the whole district. But this group is kind of the, if you want to call them and they don't have to have any special skills, just excitement and interest. That's what we tell them. That's what we bring and that's what we want. But we consider them kind of the gifted of the technology integration teachers. So we bring them in and highly focused, and they create their own little PLC. So we have multiple little PLC, very informal collaborative reflection type meetings as well. So this year, we're obviously just moving on virtual. Typically in the past, we have had them focused on a particular pathway. So it's been Google, for example, certification, or Microsoft Innovative Educator certification, or they could always pick their own custom pathway if that didn't fit their needs as to what they were trying to focus on. And again, this is kind of the base instruction, but the real work is actually in the coaching. This year, we are going to allow them to pick any pathway personalized that will help improve teaching and learning in the hybrid environment. They're going to facilitate larger conference-style trainings to our other teachers. They will still go through multiple coaching cycles with our technology mentor teacher. She normally would join them multiple times in their classroom throughout the year to observe and help them, or help them to plan, or help them in the classroom. We're going to do the same thing, except we're going to be doing it in a virtual way. The other change this year is, in the past, the technology core teachers would only be sharing at their grade level meetings. This year, they're going to be sharing at their virtual grade level meetings. And we've asked them as well to hold office hours for other teachers to join in, because when we closed the first time, our technology mentor teacher was holding office hours, and she was literally overwhelmed because, again, we have one person for the whole district. So this will allow us to have around 20 different teachers that are receiving embedded coaching where we can join. So we set up all of their Google Classrooms so that principals and the tech mentor coach and the instructional coaches can join their sessions at any time. And we ask our teachers to make sure to post any of their office hours and their schedule for when they're doing actual teaching, whether it be small group, one-on-one, or a larger group. So we're basically taking advantage of a current professional development program and trying to use it to build capacity across the whole district during this difficult time. And typically we would do it in a, we would expect less, but this time we are thinking that if these people can share out in a larger way, in an ongoing way, while they're also receiving their own coaching, it's going to help our other teachers to, you know, it's going to be much easier for the other teachers as well. In the past, they do 2 conference style trainings, and this is kind of an example of what teachers would have signed up for. This year, we're going to continue that to district-wide conference style, but it's going to look much different because it's going to be focused on our online curriculum, on hybrid strategies. But basically, teachers would go onto an online portal, sign up for different classes, and and they would be able to sign up and then attend different classes. So this year we're going to do the same thing, but it is just going to be a different focus. Are there any questions, or we move to the next speaker, I believe?
Yeah, I don't see any questions in the chat right now regarding your presentation. We can probably come back and hit them, but go ahead, Jenith, you unmuted. It looks like you're ready to roll, I assume, or are you the next on the list?
Stop sharing, Julie. Hi, everyone. I am Jenith Mishny. I'm in Newport Beach, Costa Mesa, which you get the Newport Mesa Unified School District. We are a district of, sorry, just move you around. I like, if you want to bring your picture back up, I'm happy to look at faces, but totally up to you. I know we're in this virtual environment. So we're about 21,000 students. We have a big, diverse range of the rich Newport Coast students all the way down to poverty, low income, you know, so we have a wide range. We have about 1,200 TK-12 teachers, and I have 3 TOSAs, teachers on special assignment, that work underneath me. And I've been doing this forever. No, I love it. I know we're in this pandemic, but it's honestly been such a game changer, and a little silver linings. I always look at silver linings, right? I've been able to make so many things happen that I've been trying to do for years. So I'm sharing way more than I can cover in this time, and I definitely want conversation if possible. But I don't know if you guys have this, so I'm just going to drop the link in there if you want to my presentation. So this is all the different kind of professional learning that we offer in the district, but I am going to narrow it down to talk about more at the district level right now. We do base a lot of our stuff on the new ISTE coaching standards around this model that I'm talking about. So you'll notice that throughout. So we're agents of change, right? So we played it up. These are 2 of my TOSAs in there with me. We use Bitmojis. We do everything we can to engage our teachers just like we would engage our students. So we add a lot of that into the things. One thing that was super successful within our district that we did a couple years ago was picked up the Ludo platform. I don't know if you're aware of it, but it really allows for gamified self-paced learning. And we've now added a 4th game. NMUSD Expedition is basically all pedagogy, technology tools, Google, built out mostly for our certificated staff. And those are missions that they have to go through, and we offer incentives. and again, we did this prior to the pandemic, so it really got more attention. And we do things with schools and we did offer like pancake breakfasts and different incentives for points. And we have an online store where they can get an iPad or an iPad pencil and different tools for their classroom. Our Ascent class is our iPad as a teaching tool class. So they have to go through that, and then they get an iPad. Well, they get the iPad, but then they have to complete the course to keep it. And then we did a maiden voyage. You can see the theme here. That's for our new teachers. But we found that during the pandemic, all teachers were in there using that because it's got all the content that a new teacher would need and more. And then recently, we just launched in June a classified game and a distance learning and social emotional. So those were two things we added. The other piece we did starting back in 2015, like Julie, coaching model we know, so effective, the most effective. Sure, we've all been at the place where you had your teachers come after school and do a session, and that's just, those days are gone. So we started what we call the Digital Fellow Program. And a lot of Julie's Technology Core program has some similarities. Any teacher can apply. We offer a really good incentive stipend for the year. We do follow the ISTE coaching standards. We're the coaches, so there's 4 coaches. I do some of the coaching because I do love that. And we started with 20 fellows, and we grew the program each year, adding to it. And so the idea is that any teacher that just wants to learn, we really don't want the techie teacher, can sign up, and it's an application process. And then they get assigned a coach. And that first year is all about developing that teacher, right? So we go into their classroom and we, create lessons and just facilitate and model for them and work with them all year to get them up to speed. And they have that challenge list and some, expectations. They can't just coast through this. They have to do some things each year. And then year 2, they have to create a professional development plan for their school. So we are, reinventing ourselves and building capacity out at our school sites. And then year 3, they have to apply. And at any time, we only have about 10 coaches, but they can apply to be a coach year 3. And all right, I was just checking. Sorry if there's questions about this. So year 3, they can be a coach, and they can be a coach for 2 years. And all of this is really dependent too on how the fit is. So if a teacher, at the end of year 1 really wasn't involved, or we couldn't schedule time with them because there's certain time commitments, then we had a conversation with them and said, we don't really think you should move forward to year 2 because, we're not looking just to pay teachers to do nothing. So then that year, when they're a coach, they have to actually put together a portfolio, which really helps. And they take each one of the coaching standards. They have to put an artifact or share how they did applied to that coach standard. They have to also talk about a large group, PD that they offered, a small group, any kind of social media. There's all these different qualifications that they have to do for the portfolio, but they love it. And during the pandemic, they came out and just were amazing, and we were able to offer incredible virtual training for our teachers because even our alumni came back, and they all just jumped in and said, I'll do this, and they took it, and it really showed us how much that program is helping our district. And so moving forward, we're bringing on new fellows, even though we're still, not meeting together, and we are going to move forward with our model. And they've been great at supporting our, even during our summer. So it's just been a fantastic program for us. Let me see, hold on, I think I just hit this the wrong way. Okay, no. So yeah, so here's some of our training events and challenges. We really, I mean, obviously this is all when we were meeting together, but we're still doing the same things. We're building community online. We created Google Classrooms for collaborative learning spaces for all of our teachers at the different grade levels, trying to get them to, you know, come in together in a community. We have different virtual conferences and sessions for them to do. Is there any questions? I'm looking at my time. I'm almost there. At this point, no. Okay. So at the school level, we also offer office hours, and these translated into the virtual environment as well. And this is another successful model that we did, where any school can sign up for a full day of office hours with Atossa, and they come and we have a roving sub, and we put out 45 minutes blocks of time, and they sign up and they say what they want to work on. And teachers are, you know, teachers, they don't always want to just say in a large group, I don't know how to, you know, create a Google Doc. They feel dumb. And so they say this is such effective way to get coached, because they get like this one-on-one 45 minutes of time at their school where they just, you know, have a sub come in and they get to meet with Atossa and go over anything they want. And so we offer this right now about twice a year, because we have 30 schools and we don't get to, you know, we can't get to all those schools, but it's really, really been effective. And, you know, on this presentation, everything is there for you to copy, reuse. If you can't access it and you need it, just request it and I'll share it. You know, I think that's what we're all about, is sharing and not reinventing the wheel. Where am I on time? Okay. So yes.
The new term I've heard recently, edu-borrowing.
Oh, I like it. So some other things we've done is, I'm sure you've heard of Potty, well, this doesn't work anymore, Potty PD. I laughed at the name, but basically putting up, you know, little infographics of information in your restrooms around your schools and places. Teachers were really taking to that prior to the pandemic. You know, just looking at all kinds of models and ways for us to engage teachers, get them collaborating cross schools, cross grade levels when appropriate. And then we really embraced the HyperDoc, which, you know, Lisa Highfill did a great job in coming up with this a few years back, but we turned all of our resources in ways that we could. You know, you're sending multiple emails, so we put all our information in one HyperDoc, and then we link it off of our NMUSD bookmarks in Chrome, so everyone has it. And we just update that doc every year, or when we need to add a new program, and you can constantly just say like, oh, check out the welcome back doc, or illuminating resources. And for that one, we even put a tile in Illuminate, which is our data and assessment program. And teachers, you know, learn. And then we did a tech tool of the month and curated ideas and projects. And this is just a slide deck, and we just add to it every year, and they can go back at their own pace. And again, it's a link. And so just that kind of consistency and training. All right, and then again, I just said, like, community outreach, we're always just putting ourselves out there, trying to model and coach, and, you know, we highlight and spotlight our teachers and get them to share, and it's just been really successful. I think I'm on time, so questions? I know that was a lot.
I didn't see any questions in the chat right now, but people can ask as we go. I just want to say a few people have asked this session, others, about some of the decks and stuff being available. It will be available later today. The ones from today will be posted later. Some presenters were working on their stuff up to the last minute, which kind of prevented us from loading it ahead of time. So I'm not pointing out anyone here. I'm just saying okay. someone's maybe taking claim here. I didn't say that. But anyway, just wanted to point that out because people have been asking. That stuff should be available later today.
And I had shared mine by mistake privately, so there I dropped it in, and yes, absolutely.
There you go. All right, Maureen, you're up.
All right, okay. That darn mute button all the time, right? In Zoom, it's your space bar. If you need a quick unmute, that's something I've learned along the way. And in Google Meets, it's Command D. If you haven't picked up those two tricks, that is good to know moving forward into the spring. So I am Maureen Chertow Miller. I'm the Director of Technology in Winnetka Public Schools. We are a small school district just 16 miles north of Chicago, Illinois. We have 3 elementary schools, 2 middles. One of the things that Winnetka prides itself on is that it's, I think, the only public education institution that is still goes by progressive education principles. I've been here now 7 years, and we kind of have a central office joke where we're progressive without change, because we're supposed to be progressive and sure what we did 100 years ago. We just celebrated our 100-year anniversary. That was very progressive for the time, but now it's really practices that everybody has adopted. They just don't call it progressive ed. It's student voice and choice and democracy and making a meaningful difference. Those are all things that we should all be doing. I don't think that that's necessarily progressive anymore. It's just good teaching. So that's something I kind of fall back on. So that's who I am and where I come from. And this is kind of like, these were my 2 favorite memes or pictures for the pandemic. So obviously we made that quick shift to get onto a digital platform for all the time. Everybody had to learn how to use whatever tools they were using. You always had people that are like, can you hear me? Can you see me? Undo this and undo that. And then my Bitmoji has pretty much been running on empty since March. It's been crazy. Like, we started, we went remote March 12th, I think. Then we had a week, then spring break, and then we're back. And then somewhere along the lines, I was supposed to have a summer vacation of some sort, but that didn't happen. I might have gotten like 2 days where I didn't check email as much, but it's been pretty much constant. And now just the continual churn of what is the fall going to look like. Is it A, B, C, or D, or E, and all of that. So it just keeps going. So in the spring, what we were able to do is we pulled the team together because we kind of were looking west in terms of geography of what was happening on the West Coast and knowing that it was coming to us. So how are we going to be prepared? We're really lucky in the sense that we have some systems in place. I came here 7 years ago, and back then there was very little time dedicated to technology professional learning. My first year, I had a half a day that I was allowed to slot in a few sessions. So unless there was a major curriculum adoption, at which point they weren't really adopting technology tools, I walked into a one-to-one deployment with no professional learning time. It was crazy. But since then, we've built it out, and we have one-to-one devices for all of our students. Our teachers have 2 devices. They have a MacBook and an iPad. And we have a lot of different digital systems, all of which were severely underutilized because nobody made people do it, which I heard from the last 2 presenters. There's we have technology. It's hard to find the time. Nobody wants to do it. It's not a must. It's a nice to have. But this pandemic really made it a must for everyone. And even my most low-tech teachers were out there and creating and doing great things. So it was really nice to see. So in the spring, we had 2 days to prepare. And our teachers, that's my spring image. Did everybody feel that way? So in the spring, our teachers put together, HyperDocs. So this is kind of how we operated for the fast online ready to go. And I got an urgent message from my superintendent right now, wouldn't know it. So we did learning menus where students had choice boards and daily assignments. So iteration 1 was the left side and iteration 2 was the right side. And iteration 2 came when we gathered feedback from our parents, and they're like, we're not seeing our teachers enough. We need more time. Kids are finishing in 15 minutes. What else can you do? So that's where you see the want more button. To get our teachers up to speed, we're really lucky that we had in place already 2 systems for embedded professional learning. We have a system called Winnetka University, and then I was able to shift our hiring a few years ago to where we have tech integration specialists. So similar to Genesis TOSAs, these are people embedded in each school that are there for technology professional learning. And then just last year, I was able to make a different shift as well, where we call them RC directors, it's our librarians. They were partnered with the tech integration specialist at each school. And then they were able to, so then each school essentially has 2 people that they go to in tandem to get work done and find out answers. So there's a lot of just-in-time learning happening in the spring, right? Another thing we did was in partnership with the New Trier Township, that's our high school. There's about 7 school districts that sends kids to New Trier High School. And we have our own PLC that we work together throughout the year. So we just spun up an idea and we said, hey, what if we just offer 1 day of professional learning for our teachers? And so this is where I talked a little bit about Brene Brown, and you just got to lean in and just do it. Like, you can't ask how, what, where, when, why, you just got to go. And that's kind of what we did. We cast our net wide in terms of finding presenters. We culled resource after resource for already prepared professional learning, because that saved a lot of time, and then everybody can just find a professional session when they can. So that's what we did, and this is linked in my presentation, so that staff could do it on that day, or they could go back. Sorry, my superintendent is dinging and dinging and dinging, so I'm going to get through these slides very quickly and then share it in the chat. So we had this 1 day of remote, and again, we had sessions that were recorded, sessions that were live, and then we recorded all the live sessions so that everybody could go back to. We had 500 attendees, and when we were planning this, we thought we might have 25. We're like, let's just do it, we'll record it. If they show up, great. If they don't, well, whatever. And we tried. So then we did it, and it worked. We talked about doing 2 others in the summer, but we just didn't have the time or the bandwidth with all the planning going on. So we just left this up and kept directing people back to the resources that were there. Over the spring, our instructional planning team met, and we knew that we couldn't teach all the teachers everything. So we really focused on learning the best practices in remote education. Like, what are we going to do for Zoom engagement? And we narrowed it down to best practices in remote, using their Apple tools that they already had, so getting better at screencasting on your iPad and your MacBook, collaboration features like using your voice, getting yourself in an image, things like that. So Schoology we adopted as a learning management system, so everybody was all on the same page. Nearpod for student engagement. Again, these were things we already had, but they were underutilized, so just kind of forcing their hand. And here's like 5 things you've got to know, and everybody's got to do it. And they all did. So we've spent a lot of time in July with that training. And then they still have the Winnetka University, which is a course offerings that's teachers teaching teachers all year long. So that was options for people. And then August is all about collaboration, like taking what you've learned, now looking at the lessons. Are we A, B, C, and how do we move forward? So sorry, I had to kind of rush in the end there, but there you have it. So I'm going to drop my slides in to the chat, and if you have questions, go ahead and pop them out while I'm doing that.
Oh, that's great. I wonder, as you're like you're getting those pings, I'm like, is this like the old joke about a bad date? Like you have your friend texting you to get you out of it quickly in case it's going bad. Like, oh yeah, my apartment's on fire and flooded at the same time. I got to get out of this.
I truly wish that were the case. I am really, really sorry. So my slides are there. My contact information is there. Call me, email me, whatever you need. I really, really apologize for this.
No, it's great. You're great. Everything's great. I just, people are welcome to kind of share some questions. I was just wondering, I was thinking about maybe some of the challenges with this is maybe tracking, and making sure that the professional learning is actually happening. I know Jennifer talked about, having the teachers do presentations to kind of track that to make sure there's learning, but, you know, are there other methods or challenges or kind of issues with that you want to care to address, either Janet or Julie or anyone out there, maybe things that they're doing or?
You mean in virtually now, whether it's
Yeah.
happening? So we do, we require our teachers to sign up. We don't record because we had all these union, you know, issues. So we don't record. We thought, oh, great, we'll record. But honestly, I think Maureen said it, but our teachers, like our lowest teachers who never would have used technology, are now reaching out saying, help, right? And so because of that, and you know, we know that they're learning because they have no choice. They have their parents, you know, the parents are like, where are you? You need to show up. And so we also worked really closely with our site principals to make sure that they were, you know, walking the digital halls and checking in on things as well. And so, you know, we had to really shift in that way. I'm curious what other people are doing though.
Yeah, we've experienced the same thing where teachers are actually clamoring for help. I feel like in the virtual world, we actually have more tools that we can use for that accountability, but I feel like we don't even really need to go there, in the sense that people are feeling you know, they want their kids to do well. Teachers, you know, they're clamoring for the additional help. So I feel like it's been positive in that regard.
Oh, that's great. I know we've had, during one of our webinars, we had Richard Carranza from New York City Public Schools Department of Education on, and he was talking about, you know, never waste a crisis, and that how this whole pandemic has really shifted the paradigm in education. And now everyone, obviously we have lots of people here today, you know, and really kind of being able to push the, as you were talking about earlier, you know, something that was a challenge. Maureen was saying earlier that, you know, she got a half a day to do it, and now it's all day training and kind of embracing this. What are maybe some of, I know we all kind of went through quickly here, but maybe we'll talk about some of the other, maybe something unexpected that you kind of came across, a solution or a challenge that was a little unexpected when we moved to remote learning, in terms of trying to train teachers that, you know, kind of maybe unanticipated, but maybe turned out well, or maybe an unintended consequence of this.
That's training teachers. I felt like it went smoother, actually, than we originally thought. I think people were really concerned about the whole virtual world, right? And virtual meetings, and are they going to be able, when we standardized on Google, basically throughout our district, we tried to make a total district standard to keep everybody on the same page, and that helped a lot. But I felt like it went much smoother than, than we anticipated. I don't know if that's,
I think
if other people had that.
Like I was saying, like we had teachers that, you know, I am not using technology ever. And so those teachers were all of a sudden like it's like the affect level for everyone was high, but also at the same time, it leveled the playing field. So I was meeting with people, if they were in their like closets, in their garage, like, you know, teachers that I maybe never met. And here I was like, absolutely, I'll jump on a Zoom call with you and walk you through that, you know, like all hours. And it was like, we kind of just like all rolled our sleeves up and said, we'll do whatever it takes to make this work, right? I mean, I think that it really changed that whole, a lot of times, at least in my district, it's like, you're the district and, you know, blah, it's like separates us, but it wasn't. It was like, you know what, we're all learners and teachers together right now, and let's just do whatever it takes. And I just saw that over and over, and a lot of, you know, just openness and, you know, caring that went into kindness, into like supporting each other. Which was
That's great. I just noticed, I was looking in the chat, I noticed that Jana had posted something about teachers with no internet in your district down there. Is that obviously that's a huge challenge, right, for distance learning? I'm sorry, can you share a little bit about that? It just sounded interesting.
We were just a little surprised to even discover that there were teachers that didn't really have internet at their homes. They had their phones, you know, and that's what they used pre-pandemic, you know, never imagining that they would have to be interacting with students or teaching from home. And it just, for whatever reason, you know, we couldn't probe into their personal life, didn't have funds, you know, to have internet access. So while we expected to have to provide some Wi-Fi or whatever to students or ways for them to get internet, we were just a little surprised at the number of teachers that we had to provide that same service to in order for them to serve the students.
Wow, that's a challenge. I don't know a lot of districts necessarily have that challenge. You know, I've just talking to, listening and talking to educators all the time. That's interesting. I hadn't heard about that, and that is, I know a lot of people in districts have been pressed just to get their hands on devices, right? All of a sudden, everyone will want a device. So I imagine you have that double challenge of not only providing for students, but also trying to provide for your teachers, and that definitely can be a huge challenge. I see someone else just posted that too. Some too remote to get internet. Yeah, rural districts having that connectivity and accessibility issues can certainly be a huge problem in terms of, if your teachers can't connect, how are the students expected to connect, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even in our non-rural, we had teachers where their internet wasn't strong enough or they didn't have the good device. And so all of our staff, we scrambled to get all of that out to them. We basically gave teachers Chromebooks, which kind of worked. And now we're in the process of giving them all, laptops for the fall. So.
Yeah, we ran into the problem of we gave our teachers our provided hotspots or computers from the district, but the hotspots that we provided, the student hotspots, didn't have enough data for them to basically get through the month. So then we had that issue with the provider where all their data would throttle and they wouldn't really be able to get good connectivity. So then it was a whole process of getting our provider for certain hotspots to provide unlimited access. But we were surprised too that we're in a very urban area and we had more staff than I would have anticipated without anything, without any type of connectivity at their homes.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, that's something
Very
I haven't heard a
interesting.
lot of talk about. Sorry, go ahead. Interrupt. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you there if you were still continuing there, Julie.
Oh, no, I was.
Okay. I notice we're kind of running down on time here. I just wanted to ask again, our presenters, maybe if there's something, I just thinking my own experience is that, as you go along, there may be one thing that you meant to say during your presentation or that you thought of like, oh, I meant to mention that, or kind of a parting thought or something. So if you each want to, maybe one thing you want to either repeat or bring up that you forgot to mention, if you want to each take a turn, that would be great. You can start with Jenna. Sorry.
All right. Well, I did. So Clint, I'm linking that slide. I'm linking to the welcome back and the other doc for you. So anyone, I didn't link to that. Just know a lot of the links will go to our district stuff, but you can get, the sense and make a copy. I love this conversation. I know we don't have time, but it would have been great to hear what everyone else is doing. I think we need to kind of stick together and again, what's that term, Maureen? Edu-share? Anyway, do more of that. So I'm available anytime. If you have questions, reach out.
I agree. I think it's been super helpful, the conversation, and I really want to hear more about, Jenith, like your coaching program. So we're always looking at ways to grow our, I think everyone in every district, right, to try to grow our programs and always improve. And I really love this conversation, and I think that it's great learning. So thank you.
Oh, it's great. We appreciate you all taking the time today. Just before we go, I just want to tell everyone, like I mentioned, we'll be loading some of the slides and other things up on the hub. Please make sure to visit. There's chats and stuff. I think Marie has some final kind of housekeeping notes, and otherwise, thanks again to Julie, Jeneth, and Maureen today.